Good evening, everybody. It's Friday the 3rd of December. We're on Miketz, and this is the 10th parasha of the year. And we're reading the Torah, the Old Testament, and we're reading about Joseph. And Joseph is in Egypt. And Joseph lands up in Egypt because he goes, as we saw last week, to visit his brothers. And his brothers don't like him because he's a dreamer, and he tells them the dreams, and they don't like what he says, that they're going to be bowing down to him, and they don't question him about it. They don't ask him any questions. They don't say, why are you saying this? They just say, oh, we don't like your stories. And the next thing that happens is he's in a pit, and then he's taken out of the pit and he's sold into slavery. And then sometime later, he is working for Potiphar, who's one of Pharaoh's chiefs, and Potiphar's wife wants to sleep with Joseph, and Joseph manages to escape, but he runs out of the house naked, and the guards see this, and he gets arrested and thrown into prison. And then whilst in prison, he meets the butcher and the baker, and he interprets their dreams, and he says the one will be executed, another one will be saved, and that's exactly what happens. And they promise that whoever's saved will remember Joseph, and that doesn't happen, and then we get to Miketz. Miketz means end. So here we have the word Miketz. It shall come to pass, and it came to pass at the end of 2 full years, Pharaoh was dreaming. If we look at Google Translate, we see Miketz is end. And then I've been reading in Wikipedia Miketz, and I've also been asking this question, why did Pharaoh accept Joseph's dream? And why didn't he accept the other dream? But we'll get to that if we have a bit of time. But the thing that I'm interested in doing right here, let's go back to me. The thing I'm interested in doing is understanding a few things. Joseph is a dreamer, and he tells his brothers, one day you're going to bow down to me. And they don't say, oh, you're an idiot, you're a dreamer, so what, who cares? They take it personally. And here we have the 10 Commandments, and envy and all those kinds of things. We're told not to be concerned about that. I mean, the 4 Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz says that we shouldn't make assumptions. And in the world today, we're making so many assumptions. We each have a brain. We can each make our own mind. We can each decide what we want to do with our lives. Just see if I can make my shirt a bit straighter here. I can. And maybe I can't. I don't know. It wants to be a bit skewed today. Fine. We're on this side. It's funny, the picture's on the other side. Okay, let's just be smart. And let's make this way around. Maybe straight. Okay, the shirt wants to be skewed today. Okay, good. We'll be skew. We'll be straight, but we'll be skew. So, Joseph says, the stars will bow down to my star, and my brothers will bow down to me, and no one asks him any questions. He's a storyteller. And when someone tells you a story, you need to delve into the story. What's the story about? Why is the story important? And then Joseph is enslaved, sold to the Potiphar. Potiphar's wife wants to sleep with him. He's in prison. He interprets dreams. He's in prison for another 2 years before the Pharaoh dreams. The Pharaoh is the king of Egypt, the dictator. And he asks all of his advisors, what does this dream mean? And then he discovers no one can tell him. So then the man who was in prison with Joseph remembers Joseph and says, let's ask Joseph. And they call Joseph, and he has a quick shave and a shower, and he gets dressed so that he's not smelly when he goes into the presence of the king of Egypt, the Pharaoh. And the Pharaoh says, I have 7 strong cows and 7 weak cows, and 7 strong sheaves of corn and 7 weak sheaves of corn. And Joseph says, you can have 10, you can have 7 years of plenty, and then 7 years of famine. And then he says, more than that, he says, during the 7 years of plenty, you must store grain and everything, honey, etc. And during the 7 years of famine, the people will come to you and ask for your help. And Pharaoh thinks, out of everybody who's told me a story, this sounds the most reasonable. I'll put Joseph in charge. He wants to create a tax. 20% of everything that's made must be put in storage. And so, unlike our governments today that take the tax and spend it immediately, the Pharaoh is wise and he puts the grain aside just in case there's a famine. And he probably thinks, well, if this guy's wrong, I'll just chop off his head in 8 years' time. But sure enough, 7 years later, there's a famine. And so people come to Joseph and ask him for food, and he gives them food. And so there's the dreamer. The dreamer tells his story, and everybody says, you're a nutcase. I mean, I have a dream of a healthy earth. And I have a dream that this plague, which is a nega, N-E-G-A in Hebrew, becomes an oneg, which is an anagram of nega, which becomes a beauty, a delight. We have this plague where people are getting sick and people are saying you must take this so you can go back to work. It's like a magic pill. Everybody wants to take a magic pill and go straight to what they were doing before. But nobody says, why have I got this back pain? Why have I got this headache? Why have I got cancer? Why have I got sickness? Why is my arm sore? Why is my knee sore? Why have I got lower back pain? Everybody just wants to go to a doctor and get a remedy. A potion. A magic potion. Take this potion and you'll be well. I've got a magic wand over here. Where is it? Over here. It's a magic wand. I wave it and everything is well. I'll wave this and for 1 second you'll be perfectly well. You'll be completely mindful. You'll know who you are and why you're here and what's happening. And if I feel like going on a cruise, I've got my ship, so I can go on a cruise. I don't have to go on a real ship. I just pretend I'm on the boat, the ship, and here I am, cruising around. J.K. Rowling told the story about this magician, and everybody bought millions of copies and watched the movies, and everything was amazing. It was a dream. Movies are dreams, books are dreams. But yet, when Joseph tells his dream, he gets ridiculed. His brothers say, why? Don't say, why should we bow down to you? They don't ask him the question. They make an assumption. People don't say to me, David, why do you believe the earth can be healthy? Make an assumption that David's an idiot. What does he know? The scientists say we've got COVID because a bat ate a human. Great, so what? I personally believe that we have the plagues to teach us something. The oneg comes from the nega. The negative brings the positive. I've been saying this before. I'm going to say it again. We need to look after our planet. Genesis at the beginning says, go forth and multiply, and then it says, and replenish the earth. Many of the translations don't have, and this replenish the earth. In this week's parasha, we read that Joseph stores so much grain that it's impossible for them to count. And so they say it was more than the sand. But it's an expression. People get told you must have more children than the sand on the earth. It's an expression. And it doesn't say children. It says you must go forth and multiply. You must have ideas. You must use your brain. You must use your vision. You must say, I want a beautiful planet. I want a beautiful earth. I want to breathe pure oxygen. I want to breathe healthy air. How do I do that? Well, I don't burn coal. I don't burn oil. Everybody is out and out about Shell, pinging, making big blasts. And I'm not saying it's right or wrong. But Shell are doing it because there's a demand for oil. There's a demand for petrol. There's a demand for diesel. There's a demand for lubrication of internal combustion engines. And because of that demand, Shell are going to kill thousands of animals in the sea. What about the millions of chickens that are killed every day for human consumption? People are making videos and saying how bad it is that Shell are going there. But what about BP and Chevron and all the other oil companies? And what about the petrol stations and the filling stations that we go to fill up our cars? And why is it that cars are getting bigger? Why aren't cars getting smaller? Why are we still got 4-liter engines? Why don't we have 1-liter engines? Why don't we say, in the meantime, as we progress to a better world, why don't we have smaller cars, smaller engines, electric cars? Why is it that we get told, oh, the electric cars are going to break the system in South Africa, but if my car is parked in my garage and it's connected to my electricity system, and if Eskom needs electricity, I can say you can take 50% of the power in my battery at any time. And sure, they'll pay me for it, but it'll still be cheaper than using diesel and running peaking power stations with diesel. So I have a dream that we will look after our planet. Joseph had a dream. He had a number of dreams. He was ridiculed. David is ridiculed. People aren't listening to me. I even wrote a book about Omicron and the secret or the message of COVID. What is the message of COVID? Is it we get an injection and go back to an office? What about Legionnaire's disease that we had in England in the 1980s when I lived there? Caused by air conditioning, sick building syndrome. Why is it that 50-year-old hospitals have to close and be demolished or repurposed and new hospitals built? It's because bugs invade the hospitals and they can't be removed. The building gets sick. In the 19th century, maybe you met 100 people in a year. Now you're sitting on a train with 100 people in your compartment, and you get to work and you feel sick, or you get home and you feel sick, and you wonder why. Maybe it's because you were too many people. You go to a building with 5,000 people, or you go to a building with 400 people, or you get on a plane with 300 people and you're stuck in the sardine can at 30,000 feet, 10 kilometers for 12 hours, and you get off the other side, and then you're in buildings with tens of thousands of people and all their luggage and all sorts of things, and you're wondering why you're sick? And you want to get an injection to get better? And you want to force that injection onto anybody else who doesn't believe that it's necessary because we have an immune system? And we believe in God, and we work with God. We don't just say, God heal us. God doesn't heal us. God is a partner in creation. We are a partner in creation. We will heal ourselves. We will make ourselves whole. Shalom. Tonight is Shabbat. Shabbat is Shabbat Shalom. Shalom has the same root of the word shalem, which means whole. So to be whole is to be at peace, and to be at peace is to be whole. And so you eat superfoods. And so you eat healthy food. And so you look after your health and you look after your body. And you go for a walk. And you kiss your dogs. And you let them lick your face. People want to know why I've got such a beautiful face. I'm 57 years old. It's because my dogs lick my face. I let them lick my face. And I don't really care what they've been licking. We don't know where people's tongues have been when we're smooching them, kissing them. We don't know what they've been doing, what they've been saying. It's not just a matter of what you've eaten, what you've taken in. The tongue, the world's most efficient weapon. We can make love with our tongue. I love you. We can make war with our tongue. I hate you. It's the same thing. A tongue. And here we are. And we're not listening. Listen is an anagram of silent. SILENT. LISTEN. The same letters. Just like Omicron is an anagram of moronic. I'm not saying it doesn't exist. I'm saying we need to learn the lesson of what did we do for 18 months during lockdown. We learned to work from home offices. I've worked in my home office since 2002. My wife has worked in her home office since 2001. We don't even own cars anymore because all our clients are now working from their home offices, so it's cheaper to use a taxi. Or on sunny days I go on my motorbike or I walk. And I have meetings with people all over the world. Most recently, some friends in Canada I've met online. discussing most fantastic things. It's like I say, we're in the galaxy. We can talk to anybody, whether they're here or anywhere. We're on the end of a computer. We don't even know where people are. They say they're in Canada, but who knows? Maybe they're in a different star system. Now here we are, with all this beauty, the sun shining, or it's raining, or there's snow in the northern hemisphere, or there's sun in the southern hemisphere at the moment. There's so much beauty. We need to look after the beauty. We get an injection and we run back to the office and then we get more sickness. And people say it's because of unlock. It's not because of unlock. It's because of going back to an office building. When we learnt how to work in a home office, we learnt how to get out of our cars. It was so beautiful from level 4 to level 2 with hardly any traffic in Cape Town. It was so lovely to drive around or to go out for a coffee with nobody out except for the coffee drinkers or the walkers. But now it's like everybody's back in school. The schools are full of people. Yes, of course people must be with each other. I don't want social distancing. I want social nearness. I want people to kiss and hug. I want people to love each other. I want children to play sport with each other, but they don't need to be in a classroom with 50 people learning. They can do it from their home office. And so children are at home and their parents are at home and they're in their home office studying and learning. And they get together for socializing. And you don't have to go to a concert with 50,000 people. You can wear a headset. Soon the metaverse, you'll have holograms. You won't even need a headset. A headset is a temporary solution. You put on a headset and you inside the world. Soon you won't need that. You'll be like Star Trek and Star Wars. There'll be a hologram. If you want to watch the soccer match, you'll have a hologram in your lounge and you'll sit around watching the soccer match with 10 friends. Or one friend, because your friends will be in their lounges and you'll see their holograms. We have so much possibility. We just want to take a pill and go back to work. A headache pill. Get back to work. We don't even want to be sick anymore. We want to take a flu injection every year so we can sit in the office with our sicknesses, passing our sicknesses onto our colleagues. It's completely unnecessary. We want to go back to conference centers. Why? We've learned how to have conference centers from our home offices. I've been to conferences in Jerusalem. I've been to conferences in Washington, D.C. I've been to conferences in Scotland. I've been to conferences in New Zealand. And I haven't even needed to leave my desk. I haven't needed to pack. I haven't needed to get on a plane. I haven't needed to waste time. If there's a meeting at 10, I get ready for the meeting at 5 to 10. I don't have to go and catch a plane to Joburg for a meeting. Or go to London for a meeting or conference. I have it online. I'm on my phone. I'm on my computer. I bought a new J5 webcam, so that because my internal webcam hasn't got as much light as you can see, and I've got nice toys. Where's this toy? Okay, I've lost it. Somewhere here it is. I can do things like zoom in. Check this out. See if it works. Hold on. Is it working? Yeah. Zoom in. Move to the right. Move to the left. It's pretty cool. I can make myself disappear. I can make myself come back. I can go up and down. Zoom out. With a remote control. I can even do it with software. What am I saying to you? Wherever you are in the world. What is it that Joseph can teach us? Let's see what's going on now. Okay, I want to go up. Yeah, I'm going up. Right. Joseph is a dreamer. He dreams dreams. He gets ridiculed. People don't believe him. They don't trust him. They leave him in prison. And eventually the Pharaoh, the king, can't find someone to interpret his dreams, and they call Joseph and he interprets the dreams. And because of that, Joseph becomes the leader to lead people through the plenty and through the famine. If you get a headache, you need to look. If you get a headache and you need to work and finish your work, that's fine. You take a pill. But you need to find out why you got the headache. If you're getting fat, you're putting on weight, you need to say, is it because I'm eating too many chocolates? Is it because I'm sitting in my office too much? Maybe I used to go and walk to the bus stop. Now I don't do that anymore. So maybe what I should do is I should wake up, and if I used to have a 10-minute walk in the morning to the bus stop, and maybe I used to stand on the bus for half an hour, maybe I should do that. I should go and walk for 10 minutes, and then I should stand in my garden or with my dogs or whatever I'm doing. I'm not telling you not to get an injection. I'm telling you, find out what you need it for. Do you need it because you want to go back to an office building? Is it possible that our bosses are telling us, get the bloody injection and come back to our building because our buildings are empty, we're wasting all this money? But they're not wasting any money. You're working at your home office. You've got fiber or ADSL or satellite or whatever it is you have. You don't have to get in a car. You've got so much more health. We've got these companies that tell us you've got to go back to the office, and they're the ones that are dishing out the drugs. Maybe they're hurting because people are at home offices and they're healthy. They're finding superfoods. Because of the price of food going up so much, we are now getting food from farms. We're getting food from neighbors. We're getting food from each other. We're finding more healthy ways to live. We're cleaning our water. We're not relying on the systems. Is it possible that a plague is here to teach us a message? Or is it just we're going to be humans and push the plague down? Why do we even allow the plague to enter our bodies? We have armies. America's got a strong army. What does that army do? It keeps foreigners out. The foreigners they want to let in, they give them green cards. They come work in America. If you have a strong police force, like Russia and North Korea and China, then you harm your people. Why? Because you mess with their minds. They're not as creative as they could be. Where's the biggest creativity? It's in California and Silicon Valley. People trust each other. They invest in each other. They love each other in a business way. What's my biggest mission? My biggest mission is to be alive in a week. In order to be alive in a week, I need to be alive in a minute. In order to be alive in a minute, what do I need? I need clean, healthy, fresh, oxygenated air. I need trees when I breathe out, and I need sea creatures that can breathe my carbon dioxide. And they can breathe out, and I can breathe in. And I can breathe in, and they can breathe out, and so on. We're in a symbiotic relationship. We're in sympathy with each other. We understand each other. The nega becomes an oneg. The plague becomes a delight, becomes a feast, becomes beautiful. But if we harden our hearts like Pharaoh hardened his heart when he didn't want to listen to Moses, what happened? He got another plague. And a plague of blood, where you go to the river and it's blood. People are dying. Everyone says, oh, people died in the last plague. Half of the world's population died in the last plague. But by then, maybe 1,000 died in the first plague, and 10,000 in the second plague, and 100,000 in the third plague, and 1 million in the fourth plague, and 10 million in the fifth plague, and 100 million in the sixth plague. And you think about it. If the 10th plague was the plague of the firstborn dying, I don't believe it was necessarily the firstborn, but it was at least one person in every family, in every generation. Imagine you wake up in tomorrow morning and there's one person in the parents' generation and one person in the child's generation. And if you've got grandchildren and one person, there are 3 people dead in the morning in your house. And you'll say, what happened? And it's we hardened our hearts. Let's zoom out so you can see me hardening my heart. Click there. Yeah, we hardened our hearts. We didn't listen to nature saying, please help me. And when we were at home in level 4 and level 3 lockdown, we had penguins on the roads of Simonstown. We had coyotes on the bridge in California, the Golden Gate Bridge. We had people in Delhi saying, I can see God, because for 30 years they've been wearing masks because of pollution. The world became a more healthy place. The canals of Venice became more beautiful. People said the canals of Venice are never going to be beautiful again. But 3 weeks after lockdown started, the canals of Venice were clean and clear and pure from glacial water from the Alps. And people said it was impossible, and God made it possible. People like me and Greta and Gore and thousands of other people came for the last 50 years to say, look after the earth, look after planet earth, look after yourselves, look after your health. See what food you eat, see what you breathe, see what you think. And no one listened. And then God sent COVID. And a month later, the whole world is at home, including factories, including plumbers, including doctors. And all that needed to happen was that office building workers needed to be at home, according to David's dream and Al Gore's dream and Greta Thunberg's dream and thousands of other people's dreams like us. It would have been so much cheaper for all of us if we had done that. If we had just listened to us. We want to get a pill and go to the office. We want to get an annual injection to stay at work. We want to get a 6-monthly injection because of COVID. We're going to get so many mutations. We don't know. We're not going to know what to do with them. And the worse we harden our hearts, the worse we're going to make it for ourselves. We need to be healthy. Number 1 rule. I'm going to be alive in 1 minute. I'm going to be healthy. So for the next hour I need oxygen. After that I need water. After that I need shelter and clothing. After that I need friends. A wife, a husband, children, my pets. I need a beach. I need to be able to go for walks. I need to be outside. I don't want to be cooped up like a rat. I don't even want rats to be cooped up. It's disgusting that we test makeup on rats. Stuff it, don't wear makeup. You got hair, shampoo, and you're testing it on rats and mice and dogs. It's disgusting. Don't do it anymore. The answers are so easy. People are demonstrating because BP are looking for oil. Or Shell are looking for oil. Well, of course they're looking for oil because there's a demand. Because you and me and other people are buying petrol and diesel. And there's a sun up there. Look at the sun. It's going to burn for another 4 billion years. Chances are by then you and I will be dead. Our children and grandchildren also will be. But if we make the world a dirty, horrible, sissy environment in which to live, we're going to all be dead so much longer before that. And it's not going to be COVID's fault. It's going to be our brain. We forgot to use our brain. We became stupid. We can't even have a deep conversation anymore without people shouting at each other and being cross. We must listen to the dreamers, because the dreamers tell us the future. We must listen to the storytellers. All of us as children love stories. We still do. I still love stories. People watch movies, they're stories. James Bond, the latest story in Italy. What are we going to do? What are we going to do? Are we going to heal the planet? Are we going to clean up our act? Or do we just want to put out more pollution and take a tablet and go back to an office building? And the office buildings can all be repurposed as flats. So don't worry about that. And all those car parks. We don't need cars anymore. We don't need to travel anymore. We don't need conference centers. We don't need cruise ships. Yes, the cruise ship can moor in a hot place for summer and then go to another hot place for summer. It makes sense. You don't have to build hotels. The cruise ship can moor for a month and then go somewhere else. Everybody can have an opportunity to live in a 5-star hotel for a month a year on a cruise ship. It's so much cleverer to do that than to build hotels and waste space. You don't have to have a golf course, because 20 years ago when I was in London, in the city of London, I went to a golf club in a building. And it was like being on a real golf course. You had different clubs, you had different amounts of grass, that you could have thick grass or thin grass, or you could be putting on the green. We can do everything in our minds that we want to do without polluting the planet, without consuming vital water resources. We just want to go back. We just want to go back. To return doesn't mean to go back. To return means to adjust our path, to carry on our path. That's why we need people like David, who's a guide. All I do is I adjust the sails. I move the rudder a little bit, and I help people back on their path, and then they carry on in their journey. My job isn't to finish the journey for you. My job is to help you on the journey. But when I see people going backwards, and I see people polluting the planet, and I see all this disgusting behavior, and what are we doing? We're putting billions and billions of pieces of chemicals in our body. And what's going to happen? 99% of that is going to be in our drinking water. "10,000 man-made chemicals in our water right now. And we wonder why we're sick? It's because of COVID? Rubbish! It's because of 10,000 chemicals. If I read that Pfizer had invented a drug that took 500 chemicals out of the atmosphere, I'd say, wow, do it. Keep it out of my body. But no, let's get the chemicals into David's body, and let's give him another chemical to get rid of the chemicals. Really? No, man, please. What are our scientists doing? Scientists should be cleaning up the atmosphere, cleaning up the environment. We have sustainable development goals. Look at this rubbish. Here. 17 sustainable. Everybody, people are working on 1, 2, 3, 4. David is working on all 17 at the same time. Yes, it's possible. You can't just be working on electricity. You've got to be working on water. You can't just be working on water. You've got to be working on insurance. You can't just be working on insurance. You must be working on retirement. You can't just be working on water, electricity, retirement, insurance. You must be working on food. You must be working on air. Everything, education, unemployment, employment, transport. We have to do them all at the same time. Now. We're going to harden our hearts and go back to the dark place when the light is right in front of us. It's shining in the sky on us, making us beautiful and handsome. So what are you going to do today now? Are you going to make your world a better place, or are you going to go buy more petrol? You're going to buy a bigger car, a new Porsche. You see someone in a Porsche, do you respect them? No. You see someone in a brand new 1-liter car and you say, wow, look at that. That's a clever person. I see people in these brand new big 4-liter gas guzzling SUVs. And I think, what idiots. I don't aspire to that. I think they're nutcases. Why aren't they investing their millions, 2, 3, 4 million on a car, even up to 20 million on a car, when they could have built low-cost power stations for the poor people across the road from where they live, so that there's less pollution, and so they can pay less insurance, and so there's less heartache and less damage and less rape and less murder and less suicide. That's clever. Invest our money in a clever way. Oh, you bought a new yacht. Oh, you're so clever. You bought a new farm. Wow. What are you doing with the farm? Are you making food? No. I'm not saying that people shouldn't have fun, but you don't have to be driving a 4-liter car to have fun. People tell me I shouldn't be riding my motorbike. My motorbike uses less petrol than your car. Oh, it's a nice motorbike, I agree. But I would prefer not to even have to get on my motorbike. I would like to be able to do everything just in walking distance. But I still live in a world where I need to transport myself around, when everybody doesn't have holograms in their lounge. I want to be alive in a week. I want to do everything I can to make sure that I'm alive in a week. Being alive in a week is very, very difficult. I want to be healthy. I want to be alive. I want to eat healthy. I want to drink healthy. I want to think healthy. I want to be with healthy people. I want to think healthy thoughts. I want to be mindful of what's happening around me. It's infinitely more difficult to be alive in a week than in 2 weeks. And then I can predict the future because I'm never going to run out of electricity. I'm never going to run out of water. I'm never going to run out of food. My cost of living is going down every year since 1999 when I cancelled my retirement policies. I want to be healthy. I am healthy. We are filled with loving kindness. We are filled with health. We are filled with mental capability. We are filled with loving kindness. We are loving people. We are caring people. We are blessed. We listen deeply, compassionately, kindly. We care about our planet. We care about the animals. We don't want to have rats who we're testing poisons on to see, how much poison can the rat take before they die? We've got cancers eating up our bodies. Why? What aren't we listening to? Why are there parasites? Why are we letting rubbish into our bodies? Why aren't we keeping them out in the first place? Why is our environment so polluted? Who's doing the polluting? Yes, you can blame BP and Shell and Astron, but they're supplying a demand. So kill the demand. We're not going to get in our cars tomorrow morning, which means we're not going to work in office buildings, which means we don't need to get an injection to leave home, because we're not leaving home to be with other people, with 5,000 people. We can be with our friends with 5 people at a time, in a coffee shop or on the beach. Let's send that message, everybody. We don't need oil. We do need oil for some things. For lubrication. We do need doctors, and we do need dentists, and we do need plumbers, and they need to go on site, and we need electricians, they need to go on site. And we need to buy things like computers which get made in factories. We need people to run those factories. They need to go on site. But 90% of people don't need to leave their houses to work. They don't need to leave their houses to go to conference centers. They don't even need to leave their houses to go to doctors. There are systems that you can get now. You get a delivery. You put your finger into different testing systems. Here's a testing system that tests your oxygen level. It's all cheap stuff. You can test your oxygen. You can test your sugar. You can do lots of self-tests. Can we in a little container, and it will tell you what your minerals are, that you maybe got a liver problem, and if you've got a liver problem, you need to say, why have I got a liver problem? What's it telling me? If you've got gallstones or kidney stones, what's it telling you? Is it telling you that you got angry, and the anger is displaying itself and manifesting in stones? And if you're angry, I might have an angry voice, but I'm not an angry person. I'm using my anger to give a message. I'm not angry. I don't hate anybody. I want people to listen to the planet, to the heartbeat of the planet. I want people to listen to this wind. I want people to listen to the rain. I don't want people to say the weather's bad. I want the weather to be good. Whether it's raining and nourishing the earth, or whether it's vitamin D from the sun nourishing our bodies and souls and minds. I want us to look after our planet. I want us to look after ourselves. I want our planet to look after us. I want us to look after our planet. I want to be healthy, happy, alive. I want to talk to my friends. I want to go out for coffee. I want to do Tai Chi in the park. I don't want to be locked in my house, or my flat, or my shack. I don't want to be locked inside. I want to be out. But I don't want to be in a building with 400 or 5,000 or 10,000 or 20,000 people. I don't have to be in a train or a bus. I don't want to be buying petrol that's destroying animals off the wild coast of South Africa because people are using high-powered electric compressors to detect oil in the ground. I don't want us to be extracting oil anymore, or gas. I want us to be putting back. I want you to put back. I want you to live your life your way, with your mind, contributing the way that you should be contributing to yourself. When you're in an office building, no matter how much you're earning, the person who's got you in that building is earning more than you. You've moved from a factory to a building. You're still in a factory. I don't care if you're in a building, you're in a factory. Get out of the factory. Let's have discrete, separate, decentralized factories where we all work from our home office. If you need to go because you're a plumber or a doctor, fine, you need to go out. You don't need to go to a conference center. You don't need to get on a plane. If you want to go skiing in Europe, great. Get on a plane to go skiing, but you're not going to sit with people in business class and first class because that doesn't need to exist. The only reason that business class and first class exists is that when people get to the other side, they can carry on immediately. But you can have probably, 20% fewer chairs in economy class, and people can be more spread out, and it can be better. And the air conditioning in the planes is top class. I don't even know why people are wearing masks in planes. I don't even know why people are wearing masks. I don't even know why people wore masks before COVID. You know those masks of deceit and envy? Why are we wearing masks? What is the purpose of the mask? You're trying to say, I'm not who I am. 2 years ago, if you walked into a bank with a mask, you got marched out at the end of a gun. Now, if you walk into a bank without a mask, you get marched out with a gun. You have to wear a mask to go to a bank. Guys, girls, does this make sense to you? You think I'm a conspiracy theorist? No, I'm not part of any conspiracy. This is David saying what David's view is. How can that be a conspiracy? You can't have a conspiracy with one person. A scientist who reads the news and makes up his own mind and looks at ancient wisdom and says, what is it about Joseph? What is it about plagues? What is it about benefits? What is it about dreams? So I'm going to leave you. I'm going to bless you and say, blessed is the earth. Blessed is God. Blessed is our relationship with our planet, with our God. Blessed is our relationship with our wives and our husbands and our children and our parents and our brothers and our sisters and our cousins. Blessed is our relationship with our friends and our colleagues and the people that we come into contact with on this tiny world now that we can talk to each other on Zoom for everywhere in the world. Blessed is our relationship with our pets, with our dogs and cats and whatever other pets we might have. Blessed is our relationship with water. Blessed is our relationship with air. Blessed is our relationship with our clothes. Blessed are we because we have a mind and we can think. Blessed is our intuition. Blessed are we who think, who are kind and generous and want beauty for the world and for ourselves, and who say, I'm going to continue to work in my home office because I do not want to get in a car unnecessarily. I don't need to travel in traffic. I don't need to breathe carbon monoxide for 2 hours a day. I don't need to be sick to please my boss. I don't need to buy unnecessary pharmaceuticals. If we've had diabetes for 1,000 years, why haven't we solved the problem of diabetes? What's going on? Why are people on chronic medication? Why are people getting more diabetic? Why are there more heart problems? Should be fewer heart problems. Should be fewer diabetics. Should be more healthy people. We're sick. It's because we were with too many people at the same time in a confined, closed space with Legionnaire's disease coming out of air conditioning systems, in buildings with thousands of people, in traffic with thousands of people breathing carbon monoxide and 4,000 other poisons and 10,000 man-made chemicals. And we know what we need to do. If you don't know what to do, listen to this video again and again and again and again, and talk to me, and talk to your friends, and listen to Greta Thunberg, and listen to Al Gore, and watch his movie about the inconvenient planet and the inconvenient truth. It's inconvenient because we would rather complain about Shell going and doing their drilling or exploration than actually doing something about it and getting out of our cars. Why are we allowing Toyota and Tesla and all these companies to make bigger and bigger cars? Why is a Mini bigger now than it was 20 years ago? Why is a Ford bigger now than it was 20 years ago? Why are cars getting bigger and bigger? Why? Because we are greedy. Everybody wants the latest cell phone. Henry Ford said that when you buy a car, it should last for 10, 20 years. It should use the same parts. Why does every new model of Mercedes that comes out have a new light fitting? Why don't they all have the same light fittings for 10, 20 years? Why have cars still got windscreen wipers? What's wrong with us? We're stupid? Moronic? Morons? When there's so much possibility? We're all jumping on the new cell phone? You know, the old cell phone used to joke, the Nokia 6110 battery lasted a week. Now the battery on my cell phone, I've got to charge it twice a day. Brand new, only a year old. It's ridiculous. Yeah, okay, it's doing a lot of stuff. You know, it's got a GPS, it's got a phone, can talk to you, it's got a library, it's got so much going on. But I don't need to get a new cell phone every year. I'd like to pay Apple $1,000 and say, Apple, here's $1,000. I want a phone that's going to last me 20 years. What I do, I give Apple $100 a year. 20 years. Is that better? I don't know. I do know that we need to look after our planet. I do know that cars should be getting smaller, or we shouldn't even have cars. I do know we don't need conference centers anymore. I do know we don't need office buildings anymore. We do need factories, but we don't need office building factories. Do we need hospitals? If we need more hospitals, why do we need more hospitals? Why are people getting more sick? Is it because there are more people? No. People are more sick. There's more drugs. Imagine if a pharmaceutical company said, oh, we've managed to reduce our drugs by 5% in the past year because there are fewer people that are sick. Everybody would say, wow, let's buy shares in that company. They're doing good things. People should be getting less sick. They shouldn't be getting more sick. The world should be getting more healthy. Shouldn't be getting less healthy. We should be pumping less pollution into the atmosphere. We shouldn't be pumping more pollution into the atmosphere. Now we say we're going to be carbon negative by 2050. Rubbish. We must be carbon negative in 2 years' time. 2025. 4 years' time. 3 years' time, whatever. We're going to be carbon negative in 4 years, not in 45 years or 35 years or 30 years. It's crap. We're not hanging around. We're doing things. COP. You go to COP, you feel good. Great. We all felt good. We all had a nice party. And then? If COP cost $1 billion, the $1 billion could have built a brand new power station in Lipschitz in Cape Town. And all of those people, the million people that live there, could have free electricity now. And that would have been a much better use of money than all these people going to have a party in Glasgow and not actually getting anything done. 26 years of doing nothing. And we got the United Nations saying we got sustainable development goals, and great. Millions of people spending billions of dollars. What's happened? I want to be healthy. I am healthy. I want a healthy mind. I want a healthy body. I want to breathe healthy. I want to live healthy. I want to have a healthy relationship. I want to have a healthy relationship with my friends, with my wife, with my children, with my parents. Parents and children fight with each other. Husbands and wives fight with each other. Dogs are barking at each other. We know what we need to do. We want to be alive in a week, which means we'll be alive in 5 minutes. We need to be alive in a minute, which means the very first thing is we need to have good, clean, oxygenated air. What do we need to do that? No more pumping of garbage into the air. No more pumping garbage into the sea. No more pumping garbage and sewage into the rivers and into the water sources. So when we drink and we drink and eat good quality stuff. No more chemicals in our food. No more chemicals in our water. No more chemicals in our air. No more chemicals injected into our bodies to make us healthy. Why are we sick in the first place? Pharmaceutical companies, my message, make us healthy. How do you do that? You take the pollution out of the atmosphere. You take the pollution out of the water. You take the pollution out of the air. You take the pollution out of the food. That's what you do. That's what the pharmacy is. You failed when you have to give me a drug to make me healthy because something entered my body that shouldn't have been allowed to enter my body in the first place. And if I'm sick because I've got a mind-body energy relationship problem and I need to identify what that is and then I can be healthy. My message to everybody else, all those people who are on the wild coast, stop. Get out of your cars. Get out of your planes. Stop using petrol. All those people who want to go back to an office building, ask yourself, why is my office at home not good enough? You know, when you're in an office, you get interrupted. When you're at home, you get interrupted. Your child runs in, or your wife runs in, your husband runs in. Hey, David, I need this. Fine, you deal with it. Say, excuse me. You put yourself on mute, or you hide yourself on the camera. You deal with what you need to deal with, and you come back. Just like you would have when someone came in, your boss came into your conference room when you were busy and said, David, I need a minute of your time quickly just to ask you a question. You said, excuse me, hold on a sec. I just have to go and talk to this guy quickly and help him. He's got a problem. Or her. We do need to socialize. We do need social nearness. We do not need social distancing. We do not need to be with more than 50 people at a time for any reason anywhere. If you're at the funeral, the closest relatives can go to the funeral and the rest can watch on Zoom. So not all self, it's a lot more healthy, it's a lot less selfish, it's a lot cleaner. If I want to have a drink with my friends, I can open a bottle of beer. My friend in Somerset West, an hour's drive from here, can open his beer. We can have a beer together. We don't have to jump in a car and drive. That's unnecessary. We don't need conference centers. We don't need cruise ships. We don't need airlines. We only need the airline so that we can go on holiday or to visit our friends overseas. We don't need it to travel for business unless we're going to fix a factory. We need to listen to the message of the plague, because if we don't, we're going to get more plagues. But if we listen to the message of the plague, we're going to get the oneg, the beauty, the delight, the happiness. And that's what I want. I want beauty, delight, happiness, kindness, generosity, compassion, thinking people. I want people who are going to listen to each other deeply. I want people to be madly in love with each other, but not be mad. I want the Department of Sanitation to be sane and not insane. I want them to be cleaning our water and not cleaning our bodies because the water quality is so rubbish. I want the quality of my milk and the quality of my meat and the quality of my food and the quality of my vegetables to be getting better and better and better. I want the quality of my air to be better. I want to wake up in the morning and read that Pfizer just invented a drug that makes the air clean. I want to read that Moderna created a drug that makes the water clean. I want to read that Glaxo made a drug that cleans the sea, that replenishes the coral reef in Australia that's burning away. I want to read that the sea is becoming less acidic because Tesla worked on something that was more beneficial than a car. Yes, we still need cars, we need electric cars. I'm not decrying that, that's great. We need to make our planet healthy, because if we have a healthy planet, we'll have a healthy mind. So I leave you with these thoughts, and I hope that we will interact. And I hope we will learn from Joseph and from the dreamer who says there's a possibility of a decreasing cost of living for ourselves and for our planet. Amen. Shalom to everybody. Good night.